At this point, Bigfoot might as well just be a dimension hopping entity. We can't trust any footage that comes out anymore. There's so much AI, so much fakery, and we already had issues with so many fakes in the past decade. I remember being on Facebook before AI generated videos started becoming a thing, and there were so many videos where it was like, first was pareidolia, right? I think that's what it's called, where it's like you see faces where there aren't faces. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of people that are photoshopping things, that are editing things. I'm sure a couple did CGI. I didn't really see that, but I'm sure that was something that was happening too. And it got to a point where it's like you can't trust any of them. And I think it was a Dogman group I was in, and they gave up. They actually it was a Dogman or Bigfoot group, or maybe both actually at this point. But there were Facebook groups where they just gave up. They're like, yeah, we're done. The admins were like, we're done, because we just don't trust any of this anymore. This field's a joke. And it's so sad. It's so sad because there's so many people that have spent so much time, so much effort, reaching out to all these different people, interviewing them, talking to them, looking at the cast footprints. There's people that reached out to people like Meldrum, and asked for help. The point is, like, there's people that studied all this footage, especially the Patterson-Gimlin footage, which is the reason I'm making this video. And they wanted answers. They wanted confirmation that this Bigfoot, was real, that there was something out there. The people that saw it, they wanted confirmation that, yes, this thing is real. And unfortunately, it's not really going that direction. Now, I do believe these people are seeing something. There's so many eyewitness reports. They have to be seeing something. But I will be a little bit of a Debbie Downer here. I do believe most of the reports are probably just bears or misidentification. It just makes the most sense. There's, I've talked to, I've met Sam Moranto of MUFON before, but it was actually a friend of mine who talked to him that got him to admit that, or got him to say, only 10% of UFO sightings are valid. That's what I was looking for. He gave this statistic about 10% are valid and the rest are probably fakes. Now, that doesn't mean the rest are all fake. It just means that the majority of those are probably fake. And I think it's the same with Bigfoot. You have all of these Bigfoot stories coming out, and the Bigfoot stories, what's that show, Sasquatch Chronicles? A lot of these Bigfoot stories sound very believable, and I do believe a lot of the witnesses. But when it comes to something like Dogman, see, I've been growing up in the Dogman time when this became popular, and that really opened my eyes to the BS in the cryptid community. With all these cryptozoologists, where, actually, it's not really the cryptozoologists, I suppose. It would be these podcasters and people. And I'm not throwing shade at anyone, by the way, here. It's, what it is all these people submitting stories like Bigfoot fights Dogman, and the Dogman was here, Dogman was there, and the stories got more and more ridiculous over time. And there's all these different stories of the Dogman, and I just found myself not believing them. And I was like, what? And you're not getting all these footprints? Like with Bigfoot, at least you were getting people having plaster casts of them. I talked to Barnaby Jones recently. I was on one of his podcasts talking about Swedenborg, good stuff. He has some casts. He has a handprint and a footprint that he has. I believe him. He's a very chill dude, very genuine. He caught something, or he found something, I should say. He has plaster casts of something we don't know, and it's unidentified. And I believe a lot of these people are telling the truth. A lot of these people are finding these footprints of something they can't explain. My point that I was getting at is just that a lot of these people, that are just seeing it. I'm going back to the misidentification. I should go back to the Dogman. I apologize. The Dogman, it's how do I word this? With Bigfoot, it made sense because they were getting casts. With Dogman, there's not many casts. you're barely getting anything. You're barely getting any, and then the sightings just get more and more ridiculous. But you don't have cryptozoologists going out to a lot of these sightings. You know what I mean? Um, you have websites like Phantoms of Monsters posting all these crazy out there stories, and I'm, to be honest, very skeptical of that site, and just a lot of the reports on there because they're anonymous. Anyone could write that. It's just very fishy to me. Very fishy, the sensationalism and commonalities between a lot of these stories. And I'm just not trusting them. Like a lot of these Dogman stories, I just don't believe them. Oh, the Dogman keeps visiting me again and again and again. And again, we get stories like that with Bigfoot, right? But somehow it's like the Bigfoot one I kind of believe a little more. Like the Dogman, it's not making sense. And to be honest, some of the Bigfoot ones don't make sense to me. But I've found myself believing a lot more of these Bigfoot stories than these Dogman stories. These Dogman stories really sound sensationalist. And not all of them. Like there was one where literally the story was just the guy was in Bray Road and he turned around briefly and saw this silhouette of a dog-headed thing. And, he was moving his head while he saw it. And then when he turned his head back to see it, it wasn't there. So yeah, he saw something. But was it Dogman? It could have been a bear. It could have been a bear. I don't know. He even admitted he wasn't sure it was Dogman. So, he believed it was Dogman. But it wasn't, it was such a brief sighting, quick sighting. So, yeah, anyway, what this is all building to, very roughly, I did a kind of poor job with this. Perhaps I'm just trying to avoid what this video is about. It's the Patterson Gimlin footage. Yeah, all right, so a documentary came out. I'm going to give the quick rundown. Documentary came out. It's being shifted at different film festivals. I believe it's... they're looking for a distributor. Usually that's what happens in movies is a year before they release or longer, they ship them and show them at a bunch of film festivals in the hopes a distributor would pick them up. And there are some Bigfooters. I follow a bunch of Bigfooters on YouTube. And there were some that went to this premiere. They went to the festival to actually see it. And pretty much all of them, not all of them, but pretty much all of them said, there's a 40-second new clip that was possibly filmed a year before the PG film. We don't know because even though the film strip is marked as 1966 and the PG film takes place in 67, just because it was made in 66 doesn't mean it was filmed in 66. So that's very important because Patterson was making recreations for like a documentary. I think that documentary eventually became like a movie called like Sasquatch, The Legend, or something like that. We don't know. Like we don't know about this footage. We don't know the details. There's no leaked images, which is impressive this day and age. And but everyone who went to see that documentary, or I shouldn't say everyone, but most people who went to see that documentary and watched it, they said, yeah, this confirms that Patty is fake. And once you see this new footage, you're never going to look at that footage, the PG film, again. Now, it's bad because Bob Gimlin is also in this new footage. So that would imply he's in on it and has been lying all these years. There's a theory that's gone around that maybe when he got back into the Bigfoot scene, maybe he was going to come clean, and then he felt guilty and saw how, the film has helped so many people, so he lied about it. I don't know. I can't speak for him. I'm not Bob Gimlin. But, yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I'm going to wait, obviously, like everyone else, for the documentary to come out to come to any conclusions. But I'm leaning towards it's a fake. And I've suspected that the PG film's a fake for a long time. The face looks very Neanderthal to me. But it has this stuntness, this like rigidness to it. I can't describe it more than that. And I really believe that shows it's a fake. And you also see like a line in the back, which to be fair could just be musculature, but I don't know. It's like, yeah, that could be a suit. I don't know. Like when I look at it, it's like some days I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is a real animal because of the fur, how the fur looks. It looks very worn and very much like a real animal that's in nature. But then there's other times I look at it and I'm like, man, like, no, that's not real. Like, it's bad. It's bad. But I was always leaning towards it wasn't real, unfortunately, even though it's inspired. Like that statue back there, I mean, countless stickers. I mean, everything, it's inspired. It is the face of Bigfoot. Like that is the face of Bigfoot, that footage. And it will continue to be. Oh, and by the way, I should say that the new footage that's going to be shown, it also has fake breasts, because Patterson was interested in this Bigfoot story where there was a Sasquatch that had breasts. It was female, and the breasts were covered in fur. And then he encounters in October, right around Halloween, he encounters a female Sasquatch. And the idea is he used a female because females for apes are usually smaller in stature. So if a Sasquatch male is supposed to be way bigger and robust than a male human, well, maybe a male human in a female Bigfoot suit would be would fit better. And we know that the proportions of the Patterson-Gimlin footage would match that of a person. So I know it's not what everyone wants to hear. It's not what everyone wants to accept. But yeah, I don't, I do appreciate a lot of the Bigfoot community. A lot of people are saying, like, you know what? We're behind Bob Gimlin. We're going to stick behind him. We're going to stick with him. Even if he lied to us for all these years, he was such a nice guy. We're going to stick with him. I've never seen that in the community before where they're like, yeah, you kind of played us, but we're still going to have some level of respect for you, especially if you just come clean about it. And I think there's something special about that there are people that are willing to forgive him. I mean, obviously they're admitting, they're still accepting that what he did was awful, and it was, but they're still willing to look past that. And there's something really sweet about that I haven't seen in any other community. But of course, I'm only seeing a sliver of the Sasquatch community. There's a lot of people I'm not seeing it, but there's a lot of people, I've seen a little, but there's a lot of people that are going crazy. You could even say ape over this. And those people, they need to calm down. They need to calm down. Like if your Bigfoot is all backed by the PG film being real or not, then, I mean, how does that make sense? That wasn't the first Bigfoot sighting. It's not like the Chicago Mothman where really it started with that one kite that was seen in the sky in 2011, I believe. Where there were people that kind of had to try to make it so that oh no, this footage this picture was real, because that was the base of their beliefs, this was the first encounter, and then everything followed, and this inspired whatever their conspiracy was, and it all fell apart when that was proven to be a kite. And even the guy who took the picture didn't even notice the figure when he took the picture, and was completely open to it being just something normal. He just wanted an answer. That's why he posted it online. But yeah, I do have respect for the Bigfoot community with that. But there are a lot of people who are not happy about this. A lot of people are saying, I stand with Bob Gimlin, and they're talking real smack about people that don't believe in the footage. There's a lot of people defending the footage, saying it is real without a doubt. There was one guy that just posted a hypnosis session with Bob Gimlin, and I mean, we know hypnosis can be tricked, or you can implant memories into people. So it's like, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it. Like, it's not proof enough for me. Like, all right, the footage shows, and you know what the worst part about this is? If Bob Gimlin faked this for how many years? Like, if he faked it for how many years? Just this Bigfoot footage, the most famous footage ever. What about these other, UFO cases, alien abductions? What about all these cases? I know people have been started bringing up Travis Walton. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, Travis Walton, the hoax." It's like, yeah, people, and they use the same talking points people have been talking about for decades. Like, yeah, we've heard this before. Oh, yeah, he didn't pass the lie detector test. Like, was it like 3 or 4 times before he finally passed it? We know this. This has been talked about for decades. Or a really long time. Like, why are we bringing this up again? Like, and I'm not putting my 2 cents on Travis Walton. I don't know. I go back and forth. I know the Rendlesham guy, I forget his name. I know he trusts Travis. And there's a lot of people in like MUFON and who are into UAPs, UFOs. There's a lot of people who believe Travis Walton. But again, it's like if it did come out 100%, he's like, yeah, I faked this. What would that mean for everyone's credibility? Everyone who put all their time and effort into studying this case and connecting it to other cases and what have you. It's a shame. It's a shame. And that leads me into thinking about all these other fakes, like the Nazca alien mummies, which are actually, a lot of them were just constructed fakes, building around bone, real human bone, which is messed up. But there were some that actually were, they used actual human mummies and like cut fingers off, like they mutilated the bodies, and they were actual mummies that archaeologists and historians could have studied. And yeah, that's out the window now. They damaged them, and then they would cut the heads off and use like a llama skull and turn it around and carve it. It's nuts. It's nuts. But the shit people will do, man. The shit people will do. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the Patterson-Gimlin stuff. I just wanted to put it real quick out there. I do, and also my criticism of Dogman, which I did a terrible job of. I don't see the evidence for it. And I've seen the accounts get more ridiculous over time. And it's like, yeah, I don't, a lot of these channels are just sensationalizing it. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if I believe it. I believe Linda Godfrey and the Beast of Bray Road, that's real. But all these new Dogman sightings, I know there was one in Illinois recently. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but I'm very skeptical of them. I'm way more trusting of the Bigfoot sightings because there's a very well-recorded history of them. But when it comes to Dogman, and, you could talk about the cynocephali and the werewolf tales, but was it the Beast of Guadu? I don't remember. I got to refresh and all. Anyway, my point being, I don't see the evidence for that. But for Bigfoot, you can find stories of the wild man centuries ago. And, yeah, I believe there's something to it. I believe there's something to Bigfoot. I know there's 2 other good Bigfoot documentaries that have come out. What was it? A Flash of Beauty and American Sasquatch by David Paulides, which David Paulides is a whole rabbit hole you can go down. There's a lot of skepticism with him, but whatever you think of David, the documentary is pretty good, and it's about Bigfoot, and it talks about the more, supernatural aspect of him. And I don't know. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunate because it's going to make it harder to accept the phenomenon, but unfortunately, I do think there's a good chance there is a supernatural aspect to Bigfoot if it's real. And, there's a lot of Sasquatchers, a lot of Bigfooters that you talk about it being paranormal, and they get out the pitchforks, and they're going to poke you, they're going to poke you. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them, because it does sound ridiculous. It kind of is, but it's probably true. So, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on all of this. Dogman, probably a no-go, but I do think there was something to Bray Road, Beast of Bray Road, and to some of the other Michigan Dogman sightings. Bigfoot, I'm leaning towards I believe it. I just don't know what it is. Then there's the Bigfoot DNA studies, which talk about it being, was it the female side is a Middle Eastern female, dating back to, 12,000, 15,000 years, something like that. And then the male side, we don't know. And it's like, can we trust those studies? I know there's people that have debunked those studies that claim that they've debunked them. I'm gonna be looking into that soon, and I'm curious what that brings. But also, the Patterson-Gimlin footage. I do believe that it was a hoax, just from what I've seen. That's gonna be a real big hit on the Bigfoot community, the cryptid community, and every community. I know UAPs and UFOs, some people say they're related, but, I know they're kind of 2 separate fields that they like to keep it separate, even though there's some sightings that cross them over. But unfortunately, if Bob Gimlin could lie for so long and be so genuine with his lies, anyone could do it. And then it's like, okay, well, how do you trust anyone? How do you trust anyone? So it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But we'll see. I know he has a what's it called? He can't speak, a non-disclosure right now. So Bob Gimlin can't talk even if he wants right now. But once this documentary comes out, we're gonna see it hit the fan, and I'm actually excited to see what happens, because this will be good for the community. If it's proven fake, good, I can move on from it. And I've seen many Bigfooters, YouTubers say they're completely fine with it being fake. They want to move on from this. I respect that. And then there's going to be a lot of people that double down because their lives have been built on it. And, again, maybe they'll bring up some good points, but, if this new footage is really that damning, and Bob Gilman does come out and say, yeah, you got me, where do we go from there? So, I don't know. This is just my basic thoughts on the matter. We'll see when the documentary comes out. Again, keep in mind, it could be a hoax. A PG film could be a hoax, right? And I believe it is. But we don't know the intentions of the people making this documentary. People that make documentaries, they will fudge the truth a little just so they can get their narrative across. So keep that in mind too. Like that maybe they're not lying at all with this new footage and everything. I'm not convinced the footage is AI because they have the actual real, and I assume they're going to show it in the documentary. So yeah, I believe the footage is real, but the new footage is authentic, I should say. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, we'll see what happens when this comes out. And we'll see if there's any other narratives in it that come out to be not true. I know Meldrum, that was another thing that I want to talk about. That's what I was trying to build to. Like Meldrum says that, that looks just like the Patty suit. A lot of people, now the earliest reports of this were saying that he said, it's a suit. And, that it's like, well, maybe they edited it so it sounds like he's saying that it's the Patty suit, but it's not. But then later reports were saying, no, he did specify it looks like the Patty suit. And it's like, well, I don't know. But maybe he said it looks like the Patty suit, and then there was more that he said, like, but I don't think it is. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen the documentary. I haven't seen the behind the footage. I don't know the people that made it. I know there's an AMMA with the director, or AMMA. I'm thinking of the armored MMA. That's funny. Check that out if you don't know what that is. That's something. No, they asked me anything on Reddit. The director was on there for capturing Bigfoot, and he actually respected Meldrum. He actually talked really nice about Meldrum and said he was a very nice guy. But only through talking to him like that are we going to figure out anything more about the behind the scenes, and we'd have to trust him. And I actually am inclined to trust him, but I don't know him personally. I don't know what to make of any of it. Anyway, I'm in the same boat with everyone else. Is it real? Is it not? Who knows? But I'm more in the camp that the PG film's not real, and that most of the footage we just can't trust anymore. We can't trust any of it. How can you? But we'll see what happens. We'll see where this goes, and we can only hope for the best, that there is some definitive proof. But as it stands, I mean, again, the scientific community, I know a lot of Bigfooters get upset when they're like, we're not being accepted by the scientific community. We don't have the evidence, man. No Bigfooter out there has evidence that's going to make the Smithsonian come out and be like, oh my gosh, Bigfoot's real. There's nothing out there. It doesn't exist. It'd be nice if it did, but these foot casts are amazing, and I love them. I have some somewhere, but it's not proof enough. We need something more. We need a body is what we need. We need an actual body. And until we get a body, they're never going to believe it. So anyway, that's the video. Hope you all have a good one.